Namo Buddhaya. Welcome to another video. From today's video, we are going to discuss about the idea about hell and heaven according to Buddhism. Now, before we start the video, I invite all of you to have an open mind and a mind of understanding throughout this video so that we can share what Buddhism teaches about the hell and heaven, right? So in almost all the religions, there are teachings about hell and heaven. Now you may be wondering whether there is a teaching about hell and heaven in Buddhism. The short answer is yes. Yes, there are teachings in Buddhism about hell and heaven. But it is very different than almost the other religions. Now, in almost all the monotheistic religions, the heaven is an eternal place, right? That means once a being is born there, they will live there forever. But in some religions like Islam and Judaism, the hell is not an eternal place. Eventually, they will be forgiven and they will be born in heaven again. But in Christianity, both hell and heaven are eternal places according to my knowledge, right? So this is basically the idea about hell and heaven in monotheistic religions. But in Buddhism, the Buddhist idea about hell and heaven is very different. Because before learning about the hell and heaven, I need to introduce you to another important word. And that word is called samsara or samsara. Samsara is the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. Birth, death, and rebirth. So the Buddha shows us that all the living beings, except from the enlightened beings, are subjected to this birth, death, and rebirth, the cycle of rebirth, right? As long as they continue this, as long as they are not enlightened, they will continue to be in this cycle forever. So according to Buddhism, there are 31 planes of existence. That means there are 31 worlds where the beings are born. And in each and every world, beings are born and they are subjected to aging. That is one intrinsic nature that we all carry in all throughout our lives, right? We are subjected to aging. And eventually the Buddha says that every being is subjected to death, right? And then they will be reborn. So it applies the same for the heaven. That means a being, when a being is born in heaven, eventually they start to age and also they die. So that according to Buddhism, heaven or hell is not an eternal place where the beings are born and they don't become eternal. They don't live there forever. Eventually they start to age and they die and they will be reborn again. Okay, so this is the basic concept about hell and heaven according to Buddhism. Now you may be wondering, who is going to judge, who is going to heaven and who is going to hell? Now, according to all the other monotheistic religions, the God gives the judgment, right? According to their sins and according to their way of behaviors. But in Buddhism, the next birth is determined by various factors. Especially, it is determined by the karma. The Buddha says that when a person creates more wholesome karma, right? When a person stays away from killing and stealing, sexual misconduct, lying, and using alcohols and intoxicants, and also when a person lives a virtuous life, an ethical life, he will be born in heaven. Okay, he will be more likely to be born in heaven. And also, if a person is living unethical life, right? When he creates unwholesome actions in his life, that unwholesome energy will lead him to be born in hell. But also remember that once they are born there, they are not going to live there forever. The place is not an eternal place. So that eventually they are subjected to rebirth. Again, they will come to some other worlds. So this is the nature of the Buddhist concept of heaven and hell. And also we need to remember that the ultimate goal of Buddhism is not to be born in heaven. Buddha explains how a being is born in heaven and what karma or what actions leads to be born in heaven and what actions lead to be born in hell. But Buddha never says that the ultimate goal of Buddhism is to be born in heaven. The Buddha says that the ultimate goal of Buddhism is to seek the liberation, to escape from all kinds of suffering. So this is the basic idea in Buddhism about the hell and heaven. So I hope you got some idea about the concept of hell and heaven in Buddhism. So I wish you all, may all of you be happy and healthy and free from suffering. Namo Buddhaya.